Well, we're back. We're back in Palm Beach, Florida. So behind us is that's a view of the Intercoastal, looking back on the city of Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, and we are sitting in Palm Beach itself, the island of Palm Beach. So just so this is our first show, we get you ready for it. And this is America's Mayor Live, and we just completed our show, which was very much devoted to what's going on right now in the peace agreements with Hamas, which I find troubling, because I really think we should have wiped him out a long time ago. But that's a me. So here's where we are. Here's where we are right now. We are now 2 years into the attack by Hamas, surprise attack by Hamas on the Israelis on October 7th of 2023. I'd say surprise attack because, yes, one could fault the Israeli government for not paying enough attention, but one could credit, if you want to credit maniacal terrorists with a very, very shrewd maneuver. But they didn't attack at the heart of the Israeli army, the Israeli resistance, the Israeli forces that were going to strike back at them, because they're suicidal, aren't they? What they struck at were probably the last remaining people who were sympathetic to them, the Israeli settlers in the southern part of Israel, some of the original socialists who came there in the 19th century and in the early 20th century, when the country, which began as a socialist country, it really isn't until honestly, it really isn't until the present prime minister that Israel really shifted as a socialist country. It began as a socialist country with, I wouldn't say strong ties, but intellectual ties to communism. And these kibbutzes, which is, in the southern part, were communes. Nobody owned anything. Everybody owned everything. And they made up a very, very substantial part of the economy of Israel way back. That all changed. It all changed because the reality is that communism economic system is as asinine and as self-destructive as the communist political system. And it never works, and it never has worked. 27 out of 28 times. And if you think China's working, go live there. Not too many people do. So all of a sudden, on October 7th, 2023, surprise attack by Hamas and Hamas-leaning groups comes over the border just a few miles and starts attacking civilians in their houses in Israel, killing them, raping them, torturing them, taking them hostage. This is like a savage attack that would be organized by their erstwhile leader, Muhammad. This is kind of like, want to go back about 1,500 years? This is what the leader of the religion used to do, Muhammad. Without warning, one could say the Israelis were negligent in not realizing they would do this. Israel had left Gaza in 05, maybe 03, 05 or 03. In 07, in a very big surprise, Hamas defeated Fatah in the election. Fatah was the original vicious terrorist group that turned out to be an organized crime group run by Arafat, the fat old bastard, who was both a murderer, mass murderer. I prosecuted him for murder, so I don't even have to worry about anybody else doing it. Maybe 17 of them, 18 of them. He liked to murder, but he also liked to steal money and fill his fat belly and take care of his other vices, including his very rich wife, who is now in the south of France, a billionaire, based on the lives of Jewish people, his own people, and Americans. And we were real palsy-walsy with Arafat. Clinton and Arafat, I don't know. They may have shared girlfriends. How do I know? They were real palsy-walsy. I liked Arafat so much, I threw him out of the United Nations. I had one shot at Arafat. Get the bastard out. Now, Mrs. Sorensen, the wife of Ted Sorensen, speechwriter for John F. Kennedy, thinking she was important, said with her French accent, "I don't think that's very wise thing to do that. This could cause a war." Bullshit. Sorry, Mrs. Sorensen, but bullshit. And by the way, you're here from the United Nations. This is not United Nations territory. This is under the jurisdiction of New York City and the New York City Police Department. Do you actually know who runs the New York City Police Department? The police commissioner? You're looking at it, pal. I told my two people, Randy Levine. No, not Randy Levine, Randy Mastro, and Bruce Titlebaum. Tell him to get the hell out. And tell him if he doesn't get out, we'll throw him out. Doesn't have a ticket. Doesn't have a ticket. We never authorized a ticket for him. We're paying for this. We don't want him here. So they went upstairs. They confronted him, and he refused. They called me back. I said, "Go get the police." How many? I don't know, 20, 30, whatever you need. I called the chief. I said, "How about we send up some of our armed units," which we did. They looked at them. They pissed in their pants, including fat old Arafat, the little bastard, short little guy too. Scurried out like crazy, cursed me. I figured that was like one of the things that'll get me in heaven. Chased him the hell out. The next day, the New York Times said I was going to start a war. Clinton said all kinds of bad things about me, even though I was doing all kinds of things with him. But he said all kinds of bad things about me. I said I was right, they were wrong, and I would be proven to be right, and they would be proven to be wrong. And my position was a lot more favorable to America than theirs. There's something wrong with them. I didn't cause a war. They didn't do anything except create, for Clinton, distorted American policy for years and years and years and years. And people dead, and opportunities not taken, and America being made a fool of. And in the fullness of time, I was proven to be right. When fat Arafat was given an opportunity to make peace under his terms, he refused it because it was so much more profitable to make war, wasn't it? And boy, did any of that go to your people, you bastard? Of course not. You starved your people. The people at the top of Fatah were fat and happy like you and your miserable wife in the south of France. But the people who you had brainwashed were starving because the Israelis were starving them. No, you were. You still are. This is exactly what Hamas is doing. This is exactly what the UN supports. This is exactly what most of Europe supports. And I have a reservation that I don't know that I'm ready to reveal yet. But I know I'm right about this. So I'm going to put Justine on the line, who knows about this as well as anyone, and this horrible, horrible situation that's gone on in Israel for so long. And here we are, Justine, with an opportunity to eliminate Hamas. And why are we not doing it? They're just going to remain around so they can kill more Jews.
Exactly. It's a cancer that it will only get worse, and it will be deadly if it's not eradicated. First, thank you so much for having me back. But
always a pleasure.
You'll see the legacy media even today. They're either just not covering the fact that it's the anniversary of October 7th, or they're making Bibi Netanyahu the supervillain like they do all the time. They pin everything back on the Jews. They blame Jews for dying, and they blame Jews for being butchered, just like they've done for the past 2 years. And you look at the videos that Hamas posted these videos on their Telegram channels themselves. And it doesn't matter how brutal the footage and their rapes are. Actually, I posted some of this footage on social media today, and you had certain governments like the UK ban my footage that I took of the carnage, of the aftermath of what Hamas did, because they just don't want their people to know what Hamas is bragging about themselves. And the legacy media, no matter what, no matter how evil that Hamas brags their deeds, what they brag about, it doesn't matter. And that's why they knew that they could go in on October 7th and film themselves committing the most savage atrocities, because they know the media would continue doing what they're doing right now, treat an animalistic terrorist group as if they're legitimate, and actually feel sorry for them. This deal that's been offered to them, it's very generous. It would allow Hamas terrorists to actually remain in the region if they agree to sign a document about peace, which we know, like, peace is the complete. They don't even, not only
right. It makes no sense, and I don't understand it. And I was hoping Hamas wouldn't agree to it because they're so insane. And then they have to get to the second step, which they haven't gotten to at all. They have to return the 20 that they're holding and the dead bodies that they have. And now they claim they can't find some of them. I wonder why they can't find them, Justine.
The reason they can't find them is that they either killed them immediately. They knew that they cannot give the hostages back, especially the American ones they murdered, because that's the only leverage they have. If they give back our people, what should stop Israel from just going in and obliterating them? And they know that. And they know that they're dealing with people. They're dealing with Americans and Israelis who actually value life, unlike Hamas, where they'll use their kids as human shields. So we have unfortunately felt like we've had to kind of cater and bend over a bit, because we care mostly about getting our own people home. And it's very understandable. It's why you have hostage families.
We have them all home now. All the Americans are home.
Yes.
So now this is all about Israelis. And I have a feeling that a lot of them are dead, that they are claiming are alive or tortured horribly, because they wouldn't be delaying like this. And I have no idea what we're waiting for. I have no idea what we're waiting for.
They've also sold them to different terrorist groups in the region. They're probably all in different Arab countries.
Yeah, that's true. And that would also indicate who and what they are. But here we are on the verge of really solving this. We're this close. But if we back away, that's another 5 years of death and destruction. And I'm very nervous about some of the advice around our president. And I'm hoping it's a fake. Hoping it's a fake. And he's just going to say the hell with it and eventually let Israel do what has to be done, which is to wipe out Hamas completely. And then we can move on. Because in many ways, I think the other Arab countries are willing to move on, but they feel that they're obligated to support Hamas as Arabs. And therefore, unless they're eliminated, we don't have a free path forward.
You're spot on. But even the Arab countries with this current deal, a lot of the Arab countries even agree to it. And only someone like President Trump can at least get Israel and surrounding Arab countries to agree, like they did with the Abraham Accords, because a lot of, and the legacy media will never report this, that the so-called Palestinians, I just like to call them Gazans or Fakistinians, they were let in to some of these nations, and they wreaked havoc. The Arabs, the surrounding Arab nations couldn't put up with them anymore because they would try to take over the government. They were very violent as well. And of course, we'll never hear about it.
Yeah, none of them are asking for them.
Right. But
I don't see Jordan or Egypt saying, hey, give me a couple 100,000 of those guys.
And of course, and understandably so. Nobody asks why Egypt's border has always been locked up. It's always Israel's responsibility to let the enemy in, let a group of terrorists in who claim in their charter that they want to wipe out Israel and wipe out the Jews. It's really like living in the Twilight Zone here.
Well, thank you very, very much, Justine. That was excellent. Could not have been better. Thank you.
Thank you. See you
and
soon.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Isn't she terrific? Yep, she's terrific. So shall we take a short break and we'll be right back.
Hello.
It's our purpose to U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get your.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. They're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
And we're back.
This is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back on America's Mayor Live, and we are covering the enormously complex situation that's going on right now in the Middle East. And I say this is complex because how this comes out is going to determine whether we really take advantage of the enormously powerful position we're in or we don't. From the time of October 7, 2023, which is the day we're memorializing today, after Israel was surprised by the attack of the animals who came over and attacked in a rather curious place, right? I mean, they didn't attack the military, they didn't attack the big cities, they attacked the kibbutzes and did an unbelievable job. You know, you look at the number that was slaughtered and you multiply that or compare that to the population of America during the 9/11 attacks, it's a much higher percentage of the population of Israel. And so it was a horrible attack. It was an opportunistic attack. It was an attempt to really catch Israel by surprise and to see if it could be overwhelmed by a now growing alliance of Hamas, Hezbollah, really two groups that had only begun being allied for about 5 years. They came from two different, well, let's say they were factions that opposed each other. Of course, all of this being funded by Iran. And 30 years earlier, there's no way that Iran would be funding something like Hamas. Not in a million years, but they were all beginning to overcome some of their differences between Sunni and Shia and developing quite a formidable force. One that, gosh, I can remember articles written at the time speculating that maybe Israel was getting overwhelmed. Well, all of a sudden, they came into Israel. They slaughtered innocent people, raped, murdered, took hostages, almost all civilians. The only military or police that got killed were the ones who got in the way. This was a purely civilian attack to shock the living daylights out of Israel. Rather than shocking it into submission, it shocked it into waking up, because maybe it had been asleep at the switch for a little bit about the dangers that were building around them. And without going through all of the details over the next 2 years, excuse the language, Israel kicked the shit out of them, the living shit out of them. So, and with accomplishments I never even anticipated at the time. And I'm about as pro as you can get. I mean, yes, they dealt with the smallest group, the group in Palestine. But what they really did, they found a way to somehow send Hezbollah hiding somewhere in Alaska, because they decided after a while that they had enough of this strange border in the north, and they decided to cross it. And in crossing it, they found it pretty damn easy to destroy them. And as they were doing that, they decided to reach over into a terrible problem for them in the past. Thought, oh my gosh, there'd be no way that they could deal with Syria. Well, there goes Syria. I don't know, what did that take? About 8 days?
A couple of days.
About 8 days before the king ran off to somewhere or other. The mighty Hezbollah disappeared. Hamas was down to their third group of leaders, the first two having been slaughtered. And now the great Iran was ready. The great Iran was ready, and they actually did an attack. And sometimes maybe they're stupid too. They actually did an attack. Ted, they actually attacked Qatar.
That's right.
Freaking crazy.
But explain why.
Before they did anything else.
Right.
Well, you want me to explain
Yeah.
why? Because they're stupid. They're inherently stupid. And would you believe in an Ayatollah? No, really. Would you look at that stupid, decrepit old man and think he came from God?
But do you,
don't you have to be stupid?
Right. Is Iran currently in a position where they can continue to? I mean, we know they're funding Hamas and supporting them, but
I don't think they're funding anybody
at this
anymore.
point, they don't have right.
I think they're having trouble funding themselves.
Right.
I mean, what happened now is really unbelievable. Basically, two hits: Israel first, United States second.
Right.
And would you like a nice Brooklyn expression?
Yeah.
So Iran's on the balls of its ass.
Right.
It wouldn't be a bad time to take them over. They are suffering tremendously. They have tremendous internal division. We know from our 12-year relationship with the people who are going to take over Iran eventually and make it into a democracy, that they are really suffering mightily in Iran.
Right.
And the people of Iran, I think if you could calm everything down and you could take a vote against that miserable son of a bitch right there.
Yeah.
See him? That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know why he doesn't want to, why he doesn't just, why did he just offer himself as a sacrifice? I mean, if he believes in whatever he's going to get, what? That old guy's going to get.
Right.
How many virgins?
72.
72. Virgins. Put him on again.
72. So this is the Ayatollah.
Put the old bastard on again. You think that guy can handle 72 virgins? I don't think he can handle one non-virgin. How do you like that?
He was the first one to go into hiding, right? Well, they talk a big game, but these are the first guys to be hiding.
They hit him. You know, the first one of those Ayatollah shits actually was some kind of a scholar, make-believe scholar. This guy's like a businessman. I don't even think he believes any of this stuff.
That's right, and their power. They rely on the mullahs, and
the mullahs are just as. I mean,
the Republican Guard.
They rely on them exactly
to maintain their.
It looked to me like the couple of times that they got challenged, they're ready to fold.
Right, and fast.
And why we're not ready to make them fold, I don't understand.
And that's the question, right? We obviously had those that critical key strike. Well, at the time we thought it was critical and key, and months later now, we're still not. At least publicly, they're not telling us how much we've been able to degrade their capability to enrich uranium.
We set them back. I'll give you the bare minimum. We set them back 2 or 3 years. Could be we set them back 5 years from being a nuclear power. The thing that's really set them back are world conditions. There's nobody to help them. Who's gonna help poor old little Iran?
Right.
I mean, everybody's fighting for their life.
Right.
Russia doesn't have enough troops, so they're borrowing troops to go into the Ukraine.
Now where are they getting them from?
They're getting them from I don't know where they're getting them.
Cuba.
They're getting them from Cuba.
Cuba is what I read, right?
Yeah, that's great. They'll shoot in the wrong direction. Oh, yeah, the Cuban army has really, I mean, Cuba, unbelievable. Think of all the wars Cuba has won.
Right.
Huh?
And the one incident, of course,
they got 4,000 Cubans going there. And I swear to God, the same thing will happen to them that happened to the Koreans.
The one incident they'd point to is the Bay of Pigs, of course.
The Bay of Pigs.
But
what I think we shot each other in the Bay of Pigs. I don't think
right,
they
yeah,
shot
that wasn't
us.
necessarily. Yeah, it wasn't because of their strategic prowess. That's for sure.
Okay, well, how long ago was the Bay of Pigs? 50 years ago?
1961.
So good. They'll have a Bay of Pigs.
Right.
Good. That's really, I mean, it got to tell you something about Russia, that it's got to borrow 4,000 Cubans, not exactly a country known for its military prowess, to fight Ukraine, which really means it's time for a big counteraction in Ukraine. Let's give them the support they need. Let's give them the money they need. You want to hide behind a curtain, fine. Do it through Europe to them. All they need right now, I think they have almost everything. All they need is permission to hit anywhere they want to hit in Russia.
Ukraine.
Yeah. And I think they can take out. I think their main objective will be taking out Russian oil and natural gas refineries. And Russia, which is now starving, will disappear. They don't have to even hit civilian populations. They just got to take out the way they support themselves. Russia is a one-trick pony. It has one industry, and that's oil and gas. It's suffering. It could be destroyed. And you wouldn't even have tremendous civilian casualties, but you'd have them all taken out.
And of course, President Trump was key in getting a few of these NATO countries off of Russian oil, correct?
Yes.
And so
Oh, no.
that pressure is...
I don't believe that anybody would suffer that we would worry about. I don't think anybody would suffer that. The only people that would suffer are people that we would like to suffer and have to come begging to us for help.
Right.
So basically right now, Hamas is begging for more time because they can't locate the 20 live additional hostages they have.
Right. And Mayor, this is something you quite astutely pointed out immediately after we got word that Hamas had responded to President Trump's historic peace deal. A lot of fluff, a lot of fancy, UN type language, but no agreement.
Yep. No agreement. No agreement yet.
And what did you say at the time? When can we say there's been a deal?
After both sides sign it and we start to execute it. But nobody signed it. And I mean, the reality is, I don't see how time is on our side. All you do is give them a chance to regroup themselves, more people. I mean, ultimately, I'm convinced we're going to defeat them. It's just a question of how many people we kill on the way to getting there. There'd be a much more efficient way to get there. Well, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens this weekend. They're all meeting. Hamas is asking for more time in order to deliver the 20 live prisoners.
And that's just the live ones. Of course, we've read and we've heard from multiple people.
Yeah, but they've
and
lost
sources.
a few of the dead bodies too.
They cannot find the remains of multiple deceased hostages, whether from just pure disorganizational reasons or
maybe because
other reasons.
Maybe because the bodies have been mutilated,
right?
And they don't want us to see it.
Right.
Maybe they've delivered the bodies that are somewhat passable by humanitarian terms, and the ones they're holding back are the ones they tortured.
And
of course they are. I'm not asking the question. I'm stating the fact.
Right.
I know them.
Just as the day that they return all hostages and all remains, especially the live ones, live hostages, that's their main point of leverage
also
right now.
another
That's
terrible
their main
mistake before we move on to the next subject. You do not treat a terrorist group like a country.
Right.
That sits at a bargaining table and gets to make demands.
Right.
No way. Hamas shouldn't be making any demands. Hamas shouldn't be saying anything. Hamas should be told to shut up, sit in the corner, or we'll blow your brains out.
Right.
Because they're a terrorist group. They're not a nation.
And
they're people who rape and plunder and kill and do all kinds of horrible things, and they're insane. They're absolutely insane.
Well, and what would you say to some folks who argue that Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu should have and should have considered moving in right away after October 7th and handling this in the immediate months after that horrific day 2 years ago today?
Actually, we'll have to discuss that after it's over. I don't know. You'd have to know how much he needs the support of the United States to get done what he's doing. I suspect that he may not even know and didn't want to give up that option. So had he just gone ahead, right, and done whatever he wanted to do, he might very well risk, particularly remember Biden was in charge then, and all the lefties who love the Islamic extremists. Who knows? Maybe Obama was running things. He's on their side. So I think he had to be careful because he didn't know what he was dealing with. I think he's a bit surprised that the Trump people haven't been as 100% supportive. And I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly where that problem is. I used to think it was naivete on the part of some of the new people that came into it, but I'm beginning to get darker thoughts about it, which I'll express later.
Right.
So let's go domestically now. In Chicago, Stephen Miller has made a very, very strong statement. And I think he's absolutely right, and we should listen to this. There is a large and growing movement of left-wing terrorism in this country. Now, one of the places it happens to exist is in Chicago, and it is protected by the mayor and the governor of Chicago, the Democrat mayor and governor. The mayor, who is a nitwit, and the governor, who is a disgusting fat pig. The two of them are supporting it because look at this. There are ICE agents in Chicago just the other day, on Saturday. What are they doing? They're trying to do their job of picking up illegals and people who are here illegally. They also happen to, in very large numbers, kill, rape, rob, and murder people. So you would think that an honest governor and an honest mayor would be highly appreciative of this kind of help, but they're not. In fact, they put ICE agents in fear of death. So the ICE agents were surrounded by a group of protesters, protesting what ICE is supposed to do, which is to remove illegal people from this country. Aren't you supposed to do that in a civilized country? Aren't people supposed to come in a legal way, that we have a piece of paper and we can look at it, and particularly when there's all kinds of terrorism around the world? So the ICE agents are surrounded and they call for help from the Chicago police. Used to be an American police department, when I remember, a great one. They were allegedly ordered by the city to stand down and not assist the federal agents, even though one of the protesters was armed and he fired shots at the federal agents. Now, no one denied that for 2 days. And now the police chief, who's on the hook, says, oh, that didn't happen, except it did happen. And the governor, that's the fat pig governor, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who was basically made a politician because he was too stupid to be in the family business. Fatso Pritzker didn't condemn the violent resistance, but he condemned the feds. They're doing their job, Fatso. So, what do you make? What do you make of that? I mean, What is the government supposed to do when that happens? Well, here's what the government's going to do. We're going to send in 3,000 or 4,000 federal agents to support all of the federal agents that are there. And I would say to the Chicago police, I don't blame it on you. You hate these bastards. I know it. I know Chicago police officers. I go to Chicago. I know what you think of the political leadership you have. They're more crooked than the people you arrest. Chicago's had 65 years of crooked Democrat mayors, one after the other, after the other, after the other. That's why Chicago is in such terrible shape. So the federal agents are going to come in now, and we'll see if the Chicago police cooperate. I have a suggestion, but I don't think they got the balls to do it.
What's your suggestion, Mayor?
We should arrest anyone who interferes with federal law enforcement, including the mayor and the governor. Fatso Pritzker won't last 2 days because they don't give you, 5,420 calories a day in jail, and Fatso can only exist with that.
Right.
He's like a jerk. They threw him out of his family because he's a jackass.
Right.
And now he's the mayor, and
the president shares your sentiments.
President? President Trump with Pritzker? Yeah, he loves Pritzker. Let's see what he has to say.
Help. Chicago can be very, very safe. It's going to be very safe, but Chicago is going to be very safe. And you say, why is it that a governor wouldn't accept free help from regardless? I mean, whether it's National Guard or the military or anybody. I mean, if women raped and beaten and knocked to hell, and the same with men where they're being shot all over the place in large numbers. I mean, we had a week in Chicago where 11 people were murdered and 38 people were shot. And then we have a governor get up and say, oh, it's safe, we can handle it. He can't handle it. He's an incompetent guy. That's why they threw him out of the family business. They threw him out. I knew the family business very well. And they threw him out. And now he's a governor. And he should say, we'd love to have a safer place. Chicago's a great city potentially. I told you, the head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, sir, save Chicago. It's a great city. It's going to be lost if you don't do it.
He shares your sentiments almost to a T.
Well, that's why he's the president.
Right.
I had this little article here from, I think, the Post saying the White House called the mayor of Chicago sick and accused
he's a
him,
real sick guy.
And accused him of defending rapists and killers after he barred ICE agents from operating on city-owned property. City-owned property is federal property too. When did Chicago get the idea it doesn't belong to the United States?
Yeah.
Brandon Johnson just announced he signed an executive order creating ICE-free zones to ban ICE agents from city property. The White House X account Rapid Response 47 wrote Monday. This is sick. How can you write orders making an area free from federal law enforcement and blocking federal immigration officials from using city-owned spaces to make their arrests? They're going to give the federal agents tickets? Or I know what they're going to do. The agents are going to go in there with their cars. Chicago's going to kind of like take all the cars out, right? And then when the police come out, they'll be there with the bad guys and no cars, right?
Right. It's absurd.
What's going on, Ted? What's really going on? I mean, really, 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 what's going on?
Well, let's hear from Chicago's mayor, Brandon Johnson.
With mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them. in their communities. And sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
Let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, William.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right. Let's move on.
Yes or no?
Let's move on.
Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man. Would you want
thanks. Thank you.
ICE to deport that rapist?
All right. Taman?
What a leader. That's a softball. I mean,
that's the
that's
best.
an easy one.
That's the best he's looked because he didn't have to answer.
That's the notice why we won't even answer. That's an easy one.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Wow.
Ted,
Mayor.
so what's going to happen? What's your prediction?
What's my prediction? The president, under Secretary Noem's great leadership at DHS, which we are required to say you're a member of the advisory council.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they'll continue this crackdown. We saw what happened in Washington, D.C.
I don't think Secretary Noem gives a shit about that guy at all.
But you see her; she's right there with the ICE officers on the
She's
front
ready
lines.
to arrest him.
Right.
The president says arrest him. She'll arrest him.
Right. So let's get some footage of Kristi Noem. She's, I believe, in Portland today, where, for one, you'll like this, she prayed with the officers, which is prayer works. Despite what Democrats tell you, prayer works.
Well, so that's her with.
You're enforcing the law, but also for the citizens of this country. And Lord, I just ask that you continue to put a hedge of protection around these officers. Keep them safe, Lord, but that also that you would continue to bless each and every one of them and their families. And Lord, that you would protect the freedoms that we all enjoy, that were given to us by you. We love you and we praise you in your name. Amen.
Well, that is where it's needed. I mean, that place is completely not part of America.
Right.
And it's got to be brought back into America.
Right. So Secretary Noem's out there.
It was separated somewhere during the 2020 revolution that took place.
Right.
And has never been brought back.
That's right.
And now you've got a mayor, you've got a police chief. You don't even have a police department.
Right.
And I think they're going to bring it back.
Right.
So let's see. Let's see if it works.
Right.
You know, the president really took after Prime Minister Netanyahu. And I love the president, right?
Of course.
He's wrong. The president's wrong. Bibi's right. He says the president blasted Netanyahu and told him not to be so negative, so effing negative, for being a downer on Hamas, accepting key parts of his Gaza peace deal. I've looked at what they've accepted. They've accepted no more than 10% of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why this attack on Bibi when he's just telling the truth. Bibi is always trying to knife his deals. And no, he's really trying to not make a deal that's going to end the existence of the state of Israel. I mean, he's not in the same position we're in. It isn't like 345 million people and atomic weapons. He's in a much more precarious situation, Mr. President. I don't see him trying to knife his deals. I see him actually bending over backwards to do all kinds of silly things that America asks him to do to get him in trouble with the right-wingers there. So Hamas said that it planned to accept some elements of Trump's 20-point blueprint, including the release of Israeli hostages. It stops short of agreeing to calls for it to disarm and yield power in Gaza. Now, okay, let's not go. We can go over all 20 points if you want, and I'll show you they only agreed to 2 out of 20. So I don't know how you can say that Bibi's being unreasonable, Mr. President. But let's just Look at the key provisions here. 20-point blueprint for ending the conflict, including the release of Israeli hostages. Well, how about they agree to it? They haven't been released. Have you seen an Israeli hostage yet? They don't even know how many are alive. So even that they haven't complied with. And how much time are we going to give them to comply with? 2 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, a month, 2 months. I mean, it's been 2 years. The group, however, this is where they disagreed, stopped short of agreeing to calls for it to disarm. It doesn't want to disarm. And it doesn't want to yield the power. So exactly what have they agreed to? Mr. President, you're my good friend. And if I could see you directly, I would tell you the people around you are bullshitting you. I don't know who the hell you got around you, but
And Mayor, you've seen
there's only one way to deal with these people. Tough, tougher, and really tough. These are not schmoozy people. These are stone cold terrorists. I put a lot of them in jail. I know them. They tried to kill me. And I never got romantic about them. Don't get romantic about them.
That's right. And it's something we've seen in our own party, Mayor, you could say even more from some more prominent voices in recent years, this anti-Israel sentiment. And you wonder if it's pervading the White House a little here.
I don't know who it is. Well, let's hope it's just a phase. Trump somehow now is picking on Sharpton, which, look, who can disagree with picking on Sharpton?
I got to bring that up. We got to.
Do you have that?
I'll have it in a second. Yeah. Oh,
this is fabulous. He taunted Al Sharpton by posting an old picture of him when he was a fat slob.
Yeah,
and now he looks like a skeleton out of the grave. I thought he looked almost better as a fat slob. He got to know Brian Roberts, chairman of Fake News NBC, who gave him what would become one of the lowest rated shows in television history. Roberts is afraid to take him off because it wouldn't be politically correct, Trump said, mixing up the networks. The Sharpton show, Politics Nation, is broadcast on MSNBC.
No, we're bringing it up. Just give me a second.
Do you have it?
It's going to take a second.
So Russia is bringing in 4,200 Cubans to help them. They're bringing them over from Cuba.
Yeah,
they're going to use it. They're going to use the Cubans in. They're going to freeze to death.
Right.
The Cubans are going to freeze to death. They're going to be as effective. They're going to be as effective as the North Koreans were. Now, what you got to understand about the North Koreans are they're the most backward country on earth. There is no country. We get a lot of broadcasting into Iran. I'd say 75% of what we want to get into Iran, we get into Iran. We get it into Russia, maybe 90%. Very few places are like completely isolated. North Korea is completely isolated. You have to be the most important person in North Korea to have a television or radio that gets more than one station. They actually make South Korea, in an accommodation in North Korea, actually went ahead and made a television set with one station. They don't have such things anymore. And they're all over North Korea. The North Koreans are probably, by far and without any doubt, the most backward people on earth. They don't know what the hell is going on. and then they send them off. They send them off to Ukraine to fight with the Russians. I think 20,000 of them. Half of them kill the Russians. They don't know the difference between Russians and Ukrainians. They look the same. Yeah, point that way, and then they get a little confused and they shoot the Russians. They had to bring them back.
Right.
They were killing as many Russians as they were Ukrainians.
Right.
And you know, the Russian body count in Ukraine is like 4 times the Ukrainian body count. Because the Russians basically fight, and this has been true of the Russians from the First World War, without any regard for human life. It's like, gosh, if you could use a dummy and throw it up to get shot at, they'll use a human being. There's absolutely no regard for human life. So they're running out of people. The Russians don't want to volunteer anymore, no matter how much money they pay them. They went to an area of Russia a short while ago, and they offered them a fortune. They actually basically said, "You're probably going to get killed, but we're going to turn the money over to your family now." Yeah, and the people went and died. Now they're bringing. I mean, these 4,200 Cubans, if they put them on the front line, the Ukrainians will do away with them in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, they're not going to,
particularly if we don't hold Ukraine back.
Yeah, well, they're not going to know the terrain. They have, I mean, with the drone warfare going on there, mixed with the weather and the terrain, and just simply being in a place you've never been before.
Now,
it's going to be tough.
Good news is we're beginning slowly but surely to take the lid off Ukraine. So Kiev overnight struck the ammunition center in Novgorod and destroyed the entire ammunition center in Novgorod, which is close to the Ukrainian border. And then they hit another area right nearby, filled with Russian forces, with artillery and aviation bombs, completely destroyed. And then they hit an oil terminal in Crimea, which was a Moscow refinery. The oil plants are their key targets. Now, look at the difference. The aim of the Russians is to kill people. The aim of the Ukrainians is to take out their military advantage. Now, when I say kill people, they just attacked all the way over in Luhansk, which is almost on the Polish border. They're not going to take Luhansk. This isn't some kind of tactical advantage for them. They're never going to get over to Luhansk. They just wanted to kill people, to frighten them, kill them. What Ukraine is doing is considerably smarter. And if we would just 100% support them, I believe we could get this thing over. I even think we could drive Russia out of Ukraine. Their army is exhausted. They don't want to fight anymore. They're not fighting for anything. There comes a time in which you got to be fighting for something when it goes on this long, and they're making it go on too long. I do not believe if they got to bring in 4,200 people from Cuba. Jesus, what are they going to do? Mariachi? I mean, Russians don't dance mariachi. Russians don't dance. They're usually too friggin' drunk. Well, do we need a break, Ted?
No, we've taken all of our breaks. We can take another one if you'd like.
I mean, well, what's that explosion?
This is.
Do you even know the explosions you're putting on?
Right. Yes. This is a drone.
Look at that. The people are going to be all frightened. What's happening? They're going to think we got it attacked.
Yeah, that's a successful drone strike hitting the Russian oil refinery located nearly 1,300 miles away from the Ukrainian border. So,
whoa!
The significance of that, of course, is to show just how capable and where they're willing to hit at this time. This from last night.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because there was a point at which we wouldn't allow them to go 1,300, 1,500 miles. 1,500 miles into the border is pretty damn close to Moscow, my friend.
Bingo. And that's, you talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? That's maybe part of what we consider a leak, where U.S. intelligence are now sharing specific locations and additional information to Ukraine, and also greenlighting targets deep inside Russia. The idea being is Moscow a potential target?
Well, if you tell me that's 1,300 miles into Russia, that's a couple hundred more miles, and they'll be able to accomplish everything they want to accomplish. I mean, most of Russia, after all, is Western Russia. Eastern Russia is a wasteland. I remember flying back on a Super Bowl day when I wanted, and I flew from China over Siberia. Siberia would never end. I'd say, are we over Siberia yet? I'd look down. No, it's still there. When the hell is it going to go away? Could I look down again? No, it's still there. Then you see a little hut. Then I look down, and they're still there. Gosh almighty. I mean, that isn't really worth anything. Russia is very much European Russia, and maybe a little bit of
Moscow,
the Urals.
Right.
But so if you can hit 1,500, I'd like 2,000 miles into Russia. They'll be finished. And they I don't know. I don't think I really don't think the Russian people have bought into this. I think this is definitely Putin and his ego to have a Russian empire and not the Russian people.
Right.
I really think they'd be very satisfied with Russia and Russia being successful, and they're not starving. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's worth a try.
Right. And how much longer are they and the people around Putin willing to allow him to keep losing accepting this loss of life?
Well, I think the point will come when China says cut it out, because he can't survive any longer without China.
Right.
So China has to get to the point where they think this is counterproductive.
Right.
And if we impose enough damage on Russia, and maybe a little on China too, this thing will end.
Right.
So there's a new prime minister in Japan, Sanae Takayachi. You think I got that right?
I bet you got it close.
Sanae Takayachi. She's 64. She is the first woman to be prime minister, we think, of Japan, because she's the head of the ruling party, which has been the ruling party just about forever. And it's considered hawkish nationalist, but because it's so big, it has hawkish strains, moderate strains, and it is responsible, most people believe, for the very, very poor economy in Japan. And she is selected because she has taken a very radical approach on how to rebuild the economy. And one of them is to really, really resist, to a very, very strong extent, Chinese communism. And the other wing of the party, which is called the Comieto wing, which had been in charge, hates her because of her hawkishness. I now love her. It's not the kind of love you think. I haven't even seen her. How would I know if I loved her? I haven't seen her yet. I mean, I have seen pictures of her, but that's not why I love her. I love her because she's a hawk. What she wants to do is continue to rebuild the military of Japan. So, after the Second World War, there was a real fear because Japan historically is such an effective warrior nation. There was real fear about rearming Japan. But given how, politics have changed and world politics have changed, and Japan's gone through this 40, 50 year, there she is. Yeah, she's an attractive woman. See? Okay. So, I mean, come on, compared to one of those, never mind. I'm going to get in deep trouble. If I keep this up, I'm going to get into deep trouble. So she's 64 years old. She's apparently brilliant. She used to be a heavy metal drummer. So she got to be a little cool. She's the first woman to lead. That's cool. And she is not, she is opposed by the old time members of the party. And she is really coming in because they're building a new party with a lot of young people, feisty right wingers who do not believe that Japan is defending itself enough, is protecting itself enough against China, and has every reason to be more economically powerful than China. Because although it's a smaller country, it has always been a smarter and a much better organized country and a much more disciplined country. Just about every confrontation between little Japan and big China, little Japan wins. So we'll have to see. We're going to have to see. So Bill McGurn from the Wall Street Journal, who is a bit of a historian, points out that twice before in modern history, the Meiji Restoration in 1868, and again the long boom after World War II, Japan has achieved rapid transformations and almost miraculous levels of growth. The country needs another such miracle today. We should all hope that Ms. Takahashi can deliver. Yeah. Then we have the check on Red China, right? We've got the United States, we've got Taiwan, which should not be minimized. Taiwan is a very, very strong military force that can defend itself, maybe not completely against China, but with help. We've got the Philippines, which are dying to militarize against China because China is constantly harassing them. And then, of course, we got the great empire of Japan. Now, what does China have? China has nobody that really supports them. Vietnam would like to come over here. I know we fought a war with them, but they'd rather be here. They don't want anything to do with China. I can't tell you as much about Cambodia and a couple of the others, but they're so poor, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to support them. The only one that really matters is Vietnam. And the right diplomacy, we get Vietnam. So this is very, very good news if we can get a Margaret Thatcher type prime minister in Japan. Hello, Margaret. Should we call her Margaret?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a big fan of Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, that's good news. So, Ted, let's see. How much time do we have? Should we take a little break?
No, do you want to take a little break? We're well into soccer time, Mayor.
How much into soccer time? Because we don't want to go too
We're
much.
10 minutes
Okay,
in,
we're
and
gonna
New York Yankees are playing
Okay.
live.
All right. So let's go check on the Yankees, and then we'll cut out.
All righty. So
I just have to say about the New Jersey race for governor. Okay.
Okay.
So, this Democrat candidate,
Mickey Sherrill.
yeah, Mickey Sherrill, made a faux pas. She says, "Who eats pork roll? I think that's gross."
She said
Then
that?
Mickey Sherrill exclaimed in an episode of the Zoc Sang Show. Now, she was born in Alexandria, Virginia. She doesn't come from New Jersey, and now she lives in very wealthy Montclair, New Jersey. She doesn't know that pork roll is the delicacy And there is a tremendous division in New Jersey between Taylor ham and pork roll. It's long divided New Jersey. So she claims now she's for Taylor ham. I bet you she wouldn't even know what a Taylor ham is. But the real problem with this moron is that she ended up in the military academy cheating, not being allowed to graduate with a class, and somehow trying to make this into a very honorable thing. I can't figure it out. I also can't figure out why the hell the Naval Academy graduated her. You know why? Because somebody had cheated that have no class. Well, maybe they should have had no class and we'd have a better Navy. Sorry. I don't take cheating lightly for a Navy officer. Once a cheat, Mickey. Always a cheat, Mickey. No governor. Bye-bye. Okay?
So that,
No
that's
governor.
and that, of course, recent polling shows that a tight race. In recent years, of course, New Jersey has voted Democrat, but that race is neck and neck, which is a few weeks left.
And she's running very poorly with blacks. Maybe they don't like sheets. So let's see. What are the Yankees doing? Let's have some fun before we get ready for tomorrow.
Oh, well, that fun is short-lasted, Mayor. It is the middle of the third. It is 6-1 Blue Jays. I hate that I have to be the one to deliver that news. Of course, this is a must-win game for your Yankees. Maybe we
Are you kidding me?
do a live look into the game here.
Are you kidding me? 6-1, the Blue Jays. Who? I don't even know who the Blue Jays are.
You think Mark Carney's at the game?
Who are the Blue Jays? Are they a team?
Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, the Yankees do play them 12 times a year.
Oh, they do? I had forgotten that. I don't think a team, I think we should set up a new rule. A team from Canada, given the fact that they have not been as supportive as they should be.
Right.
A team from Canada should not be allowed this year to participate. So the Yankees should be declared the winner
of this series.
Okay, Ted. We're not going to go into a description of the game. I am a spoiled sport, but I do like to cry in secret.
Yeah.
My father taught me that a man should never cry in public. So I will later tonight, when I'm going to sleep, I will remind myself.
Well, the game
this.
is not over yet.
Just make sure you keep all sharp objects away from.
But Mayor, remember
any form of poison.
Remember, the game is not yet over, and it is baseball. You've seen comebacks before in your many trips to Yankee Stadium. I'm just trying to help you out here.
So what's the score again?
It is 6-1.
And what inning?
Yanks trying to chip away, still with a long ways to go in this game.
Let's see if we can bring this up here for a minute.
Changes. Addison Barger after pinch
See,
hitting
look,
stays
they
in
even
the
have
race.
stupid
Third,
uniforms.
Clement goes over to second.
You really want those uniforms in the world, those stupid looking uniforms in the World Series?
During the regular season,
They're the pinstripes.
That's a much nicer uniform.
Right.
Yeah, it's be
So it is 6-1, bottom of the third. Yankees at bat.
You got time. This could be one of the great comebacks. I'm not giving up.
Right.
We'll see you tomorrow night. We're going to pray. Right? We're going to pray. We're going to pray for the people of Israel so that we get a real settlement that works here, and that we don't, at the last minute.
Right.
You can't let them. You've got to get rid of the terrorist groups, and then I think you can build. I think the rest of the Middle East wants to make peace, but they don't have the guts to get rid of the terrorist groups. We have to do it for them. When we get rid of the terrorist groups, they're going to be fine. But until we do, they're going to be double crossing us. So I know the president knows that. So let's hope he's just playing along, and ultimately, like he has in a couple of these things, really pulls it out.
Right. And I have the utmost confidence in President Trump. If there were a president that could get this done, it is the man currently sitting in the White House. And I know you know that, and you agree with that, Mayor. Being one of his longest friends, you've done so much work together, not just obviously in Washington, but back in New York. You know the man more than almost anyone, and I know you still have confidence that he can get it done, both in Israel and of course with Ukraine.
If it doesn't work, he'll make adjustments. If the strategy isn't working, he's capable of making adjustments. He's capable of changing his mind also. So let's pray. Let's pray for the people of Israel, and let's pray for the people of Ukraine. They're really good people, and they don't deserve what's happening to them. They don't even deserve the leadership they have with that skunk who's running them, but that's all we got, and he's a lot better than the Russians. You know who I mean, right?
Right.
Should I mention his name?
I mean, yeah, we're talking about the current president of Ukraine.
Yeah, president in overtime.
Right. Yeah. Talk about
president overtime.
We don't want to get started on that, right? The Democrat Party here in the United States.
I think if he weren't the president, I think if he weren't the president of Ukraine, this would be over already. I think somebody else, without his background, silly little actor and created by one of the crookedest men in Ukraine, I think this would be over by now. But he's better than the Russians, so we're with him until he wins, and then we'll replace him. So let's hope he wins, because if he wins, we win. And let's also pray for all the people who suffer so much. I mean, it's really ridiculous what Iran has been put through. And they, if you were to take a poll, they want out. Let's give them a little push so they can get out. And of course, pray for us, people of America, and most importantly for our president. The weight on his shoulders is unbearable, and he bears it so beautifully. God bless him. God bless America. And let's go Yankees.
Let's go, Giancarlo.
God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,